Hi, welcome to my video. Today I'm just going to be doing a simple shirt fix. I bought this shirt during the winter and I haven't really worn it since, so I thought I'd do a couple changes to make it something I'd like a little better. First thing is I wanted to add a little extra to the neckline, just to add a little bit of flare and also just like a little bit of extra coverage. Then I also thought, what if I added that to the hem and shortened the sleeves? It's a lot hotter now than when I bought it, and I think I want short sleeves. So I measured the neckline, and then I took my lace and I cut out that same length of my neckline. I added 1 inch just so that I could make a seam and turn it into a loop. But before I did any of that, I changed the needle to a stretch needle. When you're working with knits, you want to make sure that you're using the right needle, especially if you're using like a home sewing machine like I am. And then also you're going to want to keep everything consistent. So if you're doing this on a shirt that's a stretch, then you're going to want to buy stretch lace. It's not going to work unless the lace is able to stretch with the shirt. So I cut off the tag, I pinned it in the back, and then I pinned it in the front. And then you kind of quarter it. So you go, then you line up the front and the back. And then see, now I'm marking the 2 side pieces so that I can get everything evenly distributed. This is the same exact thing you do when you add a neckband to a t-shirt when you're making a t-shirt. You want everything to be even and not to have too much on one side and not enough on the other. So now I took that over to the sewing machine and I'm using a zigzag stitch. It's a stretch stitch. It's one of the most basic ones. They have some really cool stuff like cover stitches and all these other fancy stitches, but this isn't a very fancy machine, so zigzag works just fine. I actually ended up using red thread on the top and white thread on the bobbin, so you actually can't see the stitching that bad, so it turned out pretty well. So I'm just cutting my thread tails. So now I've got the neckline done and I'm going to do the hem. So it's really similar. I just measured the bottom, doubled it, and then cut out my lace, and then this time I decided not to sew a loop. I decided just to overlap it. Sewing the loop kind of makes it a little more professional, but I was kind of getting in a little bit of a hurry, and since you don't see the hem as much as you see the neckline, I decided to skip a step. So now that I've got it all pinned, see that little overhang? They just overlap maybe 1/2 inch. So then I'm sewing. So I just went straight over the hem that was already there. You could unpick the hem and then sew the lace on, but I decided, it's fine. You couldn't really tell. I had a good thread color that matched. So I just went right over the hem that was already there. And then I overlapped the edges, see a little 1/2 inch there. So now I'm cutting the sleeves. I marked these off camera with a little bit of chalk, and then I cut one, and then I used that as a guide to cut the other one. And that way the sleeves match up perfectly. And take a little bit of time, make sure that everything's matched up, and then go ahead and cut that second one. So for the hem on the sleeves, I did it a little bit differently. I kind of lined it up like a tube, and then I sewed the lace on, and then I flipped it, and then top stitched it down. So this is actually a really cool technique for hemming knits, or you can even use this for hemming wovens. It looks really nice, it looks great. The only thing I do differently is I wouldn't make the lace the exact hem of the skirt. I would probably subtract an inch so that it pulls in a little tighter. Especially since it's a stretch, you can get away with that. But in the end, I think it turned out pretty well. I've been really liking wearing it. It feels a lot better, so much less hot, and I think it's got some really cute details now. So thanks for watching.